Hi, Ben Coomber. So a lot of people have been asking me about my warm-up with training. At the moment I'm trying to go through a lot of rebalancing with my training. I'm trying to make my body work a lot better. So I'm going to show you what my warm-up is, my mobility, my stretching. Pick out from it what you choose. I'll talk you through why I'm doing it and the benefit behind it, as far as I know anyway. Obviously my coach designed this, not me, Ben Gray at Suffolk Strength Academy. So here it is, let's go through it. So one of the first things I do, apparently I've got a stiff left ankle. So I'll just go through rotations and try and get the external to move a lot better, the outward movement. I'm very good at inverting my ankle and not so good at eversion, so I'm just working at that. So it's just basic mobility, just trying to get the ankle to force through the range. I then roll the bottom of my feet, just trying to mobilise the fascia in the bottom of my feet. I find this absolutely amazing before you train anything lower body. I find it one of the best things to get into the tissues, and you'll find there's loads of really stiff points that you can kind of work through. In the top of my arch there's always a real stiff point. I just try and apply loads of pressure, get stuck into it. I do that for about 30 seconds on each foot. When I first started doing this, I couldn't even sit like this. It was awful, it was really painful. I had a lot of problems with my ankles, a lot of sprains with my ankles and stuff. But now I'm working on being able to come really far back, really opening up the joint of my ankle and applying as much pressure as possible. So I'm actually trying to force my ankle into the floor, the front of my ankle, to try and increase the range as well. Try and make the ankle work a little bit harder. And I'll stay here for about 30 seconds. I'll then go a little bit deeper. I'll grab the ball. I'm just going to work the soft tissue on the front of my ankle. So one of the reasons I was mobilising the front of my ankle when I started the training was I got a lot of scar tissue in the front of my left ankle. I've had a lot of sprains in my left ankle. So we're really just trying to get any of the manky tissue out. So I'm just really trying to work through the tight tissues. So again, I just work on what feels tight. Then get on the old foam roller, go through my quads and IT bands, and then a little bit into the hip flexor. I do quite like the hand roller. You can get the two-handed rollers that you go over your legs, but Coach Ben forced me to do this because it's kind of a bit more of a warm-up in and of itself, because you've got to get your upper body involved, you've got to support your weight, so you actually generate a good amount of body heat just doing this alone as part of your warm-up. And I find if you just get stuck into this and crack on, you know, it really is actually a good warm-up. As a whole, I find my quads are quite tight. And then what I'm doing is I'm just trying to open up the hip flexor and the hips. I'm just trying to force more of a range into there. Swap legs. Again, with any progress with foam rollering, the best thing you can do is just use pain as a progress. When I first started doing this, it was really painful, especially on my IT bands. And it just comes to the hip flexors in. Then stretch the IT bands. I always go the wrong way, always. Just forget. When I first started doing this as well, I couldn't get a stretch in my right hip flexor. My hips just weren't allowing it, but because my range and mobility has improved a lot, I can get the stretch now. So I do this twice on each side. I'm working really hard on my lower ab strength, which is something that I found quite frustrating to pick up, but it's slowly improving and I can notice it a lot in the training I'm doing. So here I'm just trying to really open up the hips and the hip flexors. So I'll stay in this position for about 20 seconds, really trying to work on bringing the hips under, really trying to open out the groin. It's actively me pushing against it rather than just me letting the stretch do its work. And then I come in like this, and I'm just trying to force the hip into the floor, open the posture out, and try and get into the hip flexor that way as well. Back into this. And I'll go through this complex 3 times. Old school aerobics move. I just have to hold it to try and engage the glutes. I'm doing this before a lower body training session, so I think the technical term is I'm getting the buns pumped. I'll do this twice on both sides, 20-second hold. To then warm up the glutes a bit more, do this little chestnut. That's the warm-up done, that's it. I'm mobile-ish, I think. We're now going to go and do more kind of activation work and then build into the training session. Video number 8, the last video in why you might feel tired. Now today, in the final video, I want to talk about nutrient quality.